everybody. Welcome in. Thank you for coming in. Today we have a really cool talk by Tanya. She's also known as She Hacks Purple, and she's an independent security consultant specializing in software and cloud security. So please give her all your attention and focus while she gives her talk.
Hi. Hi, oh, that's some feedback. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I am Tanya Janca, and today we're going to talk about how security needs to adjust ourselves in order to fit in with DevOps, because otherwise they'll just sprint away from us and keep doing DevOps without us, and we don't want that. So a lot of what we're going to talk about is how security is everybody's job, and how as security professionals, it's our job to enable every single other person to do their job securely. And so I made this sticker at one of my offices so that everyone could be reminded all the time and have the little raccoon stare at them. I mean, help them. Okay, so the mandatory, so what are we going to talk about? DevOps. Security becoming a part of DevOps, which I like to call DevSecOps. Please feel free to fight with me about it later on Twitter. And this is how some people see security in DevOps. This is how some security people see it, but that's not what I see. This is what I see. I see us enabling developers and ops folks to creating more secure software quicker and ahead of all of our competitors. This is what I see, and so let's talk about that. Okay, so the mandatory about me slide, this is the we are qualified to give our own talk slide. We do this so that you stay the whole time, but you already waited in line, so I assume you're gonna stay. So I'm a giant nerd, I do all the things, and I just started giving training on the internet, yay! So I do lots of stuff. I love OWASP. I will talk about them incessantly if you let me. All right. Okay, so let's do this. So first of all, definitions. What is AppSec, besides my favorite topic? It is every and any activity that you do to make sure your software is more secure, right? So that could be doing a code review specifically to make sure that there's no security vulnerabilities, but it could also be knowing that there's this old function that now has a vulnerability in it and you want to not allow it anymore, so you just grep through your source code, find it, and replace it. Am I going like way out of the line of the camera? I didn't think to ask about that. But anyway, okay, I'll try to stay still. Okay, other problems. Poor application security is a big problem. We have been the winner, according to the Verizon Data Breach Report, 2016, 2017, 2018, and spoiler alert, 2019, we have been the #1 cause of breaches is insecure software. So that's very expensive and very bad. I'm sure you all know that, but until I did this research, I was like, oh God, we're actually the worst. So we're doing the worst job in security. Okay, so we have work to do. Okay, so also application security is missing. Most people who have gone to school have told me they have had almost no security training, or if they did have security training, the training that they got was not enough. So they took computer science, but they got nothing on secure coding. All they got was, this is what identity is, use Azure Active Directory, blah, and that's it. There's so much more to writing secure software than that. So security is also outnumbered. See her, she's all alone and sad by herself. That's me on my AppSec team. I'm just like, it's just me, and then there's hundreds and hundreds of lovely developers who I feel overwhelmed by, right? So being outnumbered means we can't just work harder, we have to work smarter. These are apparently the statistics in our industry. I've never worked somewhere where my odds were that good. I have never worked somewhere where there were only 10 ops people and only 100 developers for me, for each one of me. So I want to improve this, but for now, let's talk about that one person just doing a more effective job. Okay, so the last thing on this, I'm going to talk a little bit about Waterfall. The security model for Waterfall totally stinks. It's not working, and that's why a lot of companies are all moving towards the DevOps model, because it gets software out the door, software that's more resilient, software that's higher quality, software that our clients like better, our customers love, and we need to get on board with this so that we can make sure that all of those things revolve around a product that's also secure. Boom. So what is DevSecOps? So my friend Imran Mohammed, who's this awesome dude, he's like, Tanya, it's what we've always done. It's just AppSec, except for in a DevOps environment. It's just us like changing stuff around. He's like, that's what you do everywhere you work. Every place you work, they do application development slightly differently, and you just adjust to make sure that the stuff is just the same, except it's DevOps. It's like, you make it sound really easy, I'm wrong. Okay, so now let's talk about DevOps. Who here feels super brave and wants to tell me one of the main 3 goals of DevOps? Does anyone feel super brave today? You're at B-Sides.
Deploy code faster.
Yes. Does anyone else want to feel brave? Oh, sorry. He said more deployments, like faster deployments. Continuous feedback, yes. Also faster time to market. Also increasing the efficiency of the entire system, not just your part. Getting things to market faster than your competitors. That's like the end of that sentence. So these are the main goals. And let's talk about them. Improved deployment frequency. Thank you, sir. So what does that have to do with security? It means you can fix my security bugs now. I worked somewhere once, and I kid you not, their deployment frequency, or like once you ask for something to it being deployed, was 16 months. And they explained that my absolute emergency, the sky is falling change could absolutely, with lots of overtime, be completed in 4 months. No. Lower failure rates. So I feel this one's really obvious, but let's talk about it. So a lot of people talk about resiliency. That's why a lot of people move to the cloud. They want things to not fall down. But who remembers this from school? Or maybe not from school, but who remembers this, the CIA triad? If we look back at here, resiliency means if it's always up, it's always available. And that means your customers can always go to your site and you don't have something embarrassing instead, like a stack trace. So that is where that relates to security and is in line with the same goals. And then the last one, faster time to market. I bet a lot of you are thinking like that has nothing to do with security. Guess what? If we don't get to market quickly, we don't like create products that delight our customers, we go out of business, and then there is no security team. It might sound ridiculous, but like it is our job as security professionals to enable everyone else. And I have worked at a lot of places where the security team was the #1 risk to availability. And so we don't win if the business doesn't win. All right. So I love OWASP. I talk about OWASP all the time in all my talks. And in my opinion, DevOps is the best thing to happen to the security of software since OWASP. OWASP, just for anyone that doesn't know, is the Open Web Application Security Project. You have a chapter here. There's chapters in almost all the cities across America and all over the world. And I love OWASP. I don't like it. I love my community. And so this is the highest praise I could give anything. So now let's talk about DevOps in the 3 ways. So I'm going to explain what DevOps is according to me, and also the DevOps handbook and the people that invented DevOps. So what are the 3 ways of DevOps? Does anyone feel brave again? So there's someone up there scratching his head, and I was thinking of trying to get him to answer. Okay, the 3 ways of DevOps. The first one is to increase the efficiency of the entire system. So if I make my part way, way, way faster, but then his part's still slow and we're all still waiting on his part, I should have just been helping him. The second way is making sure we get feedback as soon as we possibly can. The big thing with Waterfall and why so many projects failed, is because we didn't get feedback until after a year of programming. And then the customer is like, that's not what I meant. And then the last way of DevOps is continuous learning, experimentation, risk-taking, which sounds scary, but if you do it in a controlled way, it can be really awesome. So let's look at this. And we're going to talk about each one of these. Basically, the rest of the talk is just going to be me presenting a billion different ideas in each one of these 3 ways of how we can add security to DevOps, and then free resources at the end, because that's how I end all my talks. So emphasizing the efficiency of the entire system. Sometimes I call this left to right, or if you look at my amazing, like, I know, right? I'm so good at animation. I'm being sarcastic. Um, but the idea is that we want to get through as quickly as possible releasing our products. So this means security cannot be the bottleneck. This means we need to learn to sprint, but let's get into this a bit more. So first I'm going to talk about dev and ops, and then I'm going to talk about security. Who here does dev? Who here codes for work? Awesome. Who here does ops? And by that I mean anything to do with operations and making sure things keep working, okay? And then who here does security? Okay, so not quite all the hands. By the end, all your hands are gonna go up. Okay, so what does this mean for dev and ops? It means we, security folk, need your help. We need your help tuning our tools to make sure we don't waste your time. We need your help sometimes implementing the tools. We need you to give us feedback. Like if a tool is giving you false positives, I want to know immediately. I don't want to hear through someone else how I broke your pipeline. Tell me so I can fix it, please. I need your help to make unit tests so that I can make negative unit tests. I need really big bugs to break your build. Big security bugs need to break your build. So that's the biggest thing I need. I need you to not just go over that and publish anyway. So this is a photo slide. I'm gonna have 7 of these throughout the talk. So I'm just gonna show you awesome pictures of people working in tech while I'm talking, and then I'm gonna show you a photo slide after with a summary so that you don't have to take notes, because I'm not great at taking notes myself. There's gonna be 7 of these. This is number 1. I'm not gonna give you as much time on the other ones because I only have 14 minutes left in this talk, so you're gonna have to be quick with the cameras or watch the replay. Okay, so what does this mean for security specifically, most of us in this room? We can't be the bottleneck. That's the number 1 thing. It means that we have to learn to do sprints if the developers are doing sprints. We have to adjust ourselves for what dev and ops are doing, and right now sprints are the way. And if they want to release 20 times a day, we have to figure out how to work with that. We can't say to them oh, we'd really like to do a 3-week code freeze. Well, that's nice. You can go code freeze by yourself because they're not going to wait for you. And so we need to focus on improving all the value streams, including ours. Other things that it means, making sure that, there were more clicks here. Okay, but next. Other things it means are we need to break our security activities into smaller pieces. So you could still review code, but you can't review the entire code and expect us to freeze and wait for you. I'm not kidding. I've worked places where I was on the dev team, and the security person's like, well, we're going to do this 3-week code freeze and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, oh yeah, of course, and they left the room, and then all my team look at me, I'm like, no, forget that guy. We'll just keep coding, don't worry. So it also means we need to tune our security tools. We cannot be giving false positives. We cannot be breaking builds for the wrong reasons. And also we want to provide templates whenever possible so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So if you have done a whole bunch of security testing on this one login screen, then everyone should just be using, replicating that as a template. And then you test the main one, and then if there are bugs again, then you push them out to all of the ones that have been built from the template. This saves a lot of time and pain. This is photo slide number 2, but don't worry, there's more for security in regards to making your entire system a lot faster. So what else does this mean? So you can create more than one pipeline. What? So you can have a pipeline that does all the things and then goes out to prod, but you could, if you want to, you could have it branch off somewhere and just do this weird security pipeline that goes to nowhere. I call this the asynchronous pipeline. And then you can run your gazillion line static application security testing thing. You can run all of your slow tests, but it still goes out to prod, and then you can come in on Monday and see the things that took 27 hours to run, and then you can look through the results yourself and not annoy dev or ops. Yes. You can also give developers tools and pay for them. There's lots of free security testing tools. I'm a big fan of giving developers tools because dev and ops people are highly technical. That's why they do their jobs, because they like that sort of thing. Teach them how to break stuff, teach them how to defend things. I've gotten a lot of people in my time to do my job, and it's awesome because, like I said, there's one of me and 4,000 of them. And, and more. If you are able to, write your own libraries, create your own tools if you have to. I think that, who here was at the panel earlier, the DevSecOps panel? So Asto is there from Netflix, and they've created a lot of their own tools and then open sourced them, which is ridiculously cool of them. So she has lots of awesome advice to give about that, so if you follow some of the Netflix stuff. But yes, and the last thing is just be creative. Thank you. And do anything you can to enable Dev and Ops to get their jobs done more securely. If you have an idea and you think it will help, ask them or try it. They will appreciate your effort. Next, faster feedback. So this is what I call pushing left, right? So I want feedback right away. I want to know amazing. I want to know immediately. So this is the thing that I show bosses. I'm like, look how much money we'll save. But we'll also save overtime, we'll save stress, we'll save our employees from having to do heroics, like staying overnight and other things like that. I don't know if these numbers are exactly correct. Everyone that has done this study gets slightly different numbers, but let's just say it's exponential, the cost increase, every single phase that you find a bug later, and more painful too. Okay, so what does this mean for Dev and Ops? Please tell us when we make a mistake. Please tell us so we can fix things, and we will tell you as well. It sounds really silly, but it's actually really, really important to communicate. I know it's the worst, right? Speaking to each other at work. Yes, I'm also a big fan of inviting Dev or Ops folks on security activities. So for instance, if we're going to do security exercises, if there's someone that is a security champion, someone that's interested, invite them to like a security incident simulation or exercise, or invite them to a training if you can afford it. You might be impressed. You might be really, really impressed. Okay, so what does this mean for security? It means pushing left. It means giving feedback right away, getting feedback as soon as we can. It means putting tests in the pipeline instead of having all of our stuff out of bound. It means automating as much as we can. So sometimes the automation that you do should be out of the pipeline so that you're not wasting time. Like for instance, you could scan all the code repositories every week for static code or software composition analysis to make sure that there's not any known vulnerable dependencies that are really scary that are being used. That's the thing you can do out of the pipeline and then save a lot of time for everyone, right? And you could run that constantly. You could automate it, have all the things go to your email if there's something disconcerting. Everything you can automate, that's the best. Make sure there's no false positives. I'm going to say that a few times because there's nothing like losing trust of the entire team. I worked somewhere once and I found out that they had an auto rule on the dev team to send all of the reports from the VA team directly to the trash. Yeah, I'm not kidding. It was like their full-time job to send these reports. No one was reading them. And then I joined and figured that out by causing trouble. Yes, and add security to every single phase of the system development lifecycle. Even if you're doing DevOps, you're still having requirements for your project. Security person should be there. Okay. Oh yes, provide feedback often and earlier. Okay, so what else does this mean for security? It means even more. It means we have to listen. It sounds obvious, right? But it means we have to listen. I'm going to steal a story from my friend Travis, who works at Netflix. He's really cool. He gives talks, and he was talking about Repo Man. So they made this tool to try to implement least privilege. And it would go and it would just take away different privileges from different instances, and they kept breaking everything. And then they became quite unpopular. It's not a way to make friends by breaking people's code or apps or bringing things down. Ops people really don't like that. So they took it away, went back to the drawing board, and then they made Repo Kid. And Repo Kid would just watch. It would watch the instances, and then it would say, you know what, you haven't used that permission in quite a while, and then it would remove them one by one. And they ended up implementing least privilege in this amazing way where they didn't break everything. And people actually still liked the security team and still asked for their help and still engaged with them, and it was beautiful. He's going to tell the story better than I did because he did it. But the point is that they listened and then adjusted and then tried again. Don't give up. So this is the photo slide, and then we're going to talk about negative unit tests. And sorry, we have to go fast. Not a lot of time. If you work at a place where they do unit tests, and I hope you do, you can take the positive unit tests that your developers make, the ones that test that it does what it's supposed to do, copy them, And then make negative unit tests. And by that I mean make sure that it fails gracefully when I inject awful payloads. This is a really great way to get regressive security testing. This is a time-intensive activity, but oh my gosh, it's magical, especially if you've had a pen test done. You take those results and you make unit tests out of it. I like to get all the value I can when a consultant comes in. I like to get as much value as I can because consultants cost a lot. Okay, so what else does this mean for security? It means inviting dev and ops to participate in incidents, threat modeling, security sprints, etc. If you can invite them, invite them. What else does this mean for security? It means using tools like OWASP Defect Dojo, which takes metrics from all the different security tools and then shows you beautiful pictures and graphs that help you see what you need to work on the most, right? And then take that and make a lunch and learn out of it. Oh, is everyone doing cross-site scripting? Maybe we should make lunch and learn and give education on this topic. Yes, and this is, wait, there we go. So this is photo slide number 5. I really have to get moving because I think I have 5 minutes left and I still have 2 more slides. So the third way in DevOps is continuous learning. And I don't have a cute little ASCII drawing for it. But if we don't keep learning, we will get left behind. Who here has worked with someone where they're super senior and everything depends on them, and if they miss 1 day of work to go to training, everything will break? Yeah, that's because you haven't been on training in like 10 years and you're doing everything the old way. That person needs to go on training the most. If you can't have someone miss 1 day of work, that person's life sucks. If you want to keep your employees for a long time, you should try not burning them out. This is my opinion as someone who has been that person. Okay, so for dev and ops, this means please accept security training if we offer it to you. You could train yourselves. I'm going to share a lot of free stuff. Join your local OS chapter, attend this awesome conference again next year, things like that. And share information when you fix a security issue with all the other people on your team and even maybe the other teams. But for security, give training whenever you can. Make every single moment a teaching moment. If you find a problem with one security team and they're always doing this, or one dev team or ops team, you probably want to show all the other team members too, because that problem's probably happening there as well. I have learned this. We often make the same mistakes. Share information again when you fix a security bug. So if one team has a problem, assume the rest might have it. And provide metrics whenever you can to help the teams know what to concentrate on. We can't say the sky is falling. I've learned that doesn't go very well. And instead, we need to make sure that we are emphasizing the most important things and explaining clearly why, so we can help motivate them instead of just scaring the bejeebas out of them. Yeah. Another thing is, so if you want to get more advanced in DevSecOps, there's things like chaos engineering and red teaming, where you introduce problems into production and make sure that everyone can react to them successfully and gracefully. Don't start with this. Do all the other things first. I'm a huge fan of security exercises. So I used to work at Elections Canada. I'm Canadian. I'm sure at some point I've said "about" during this presentation if you've noticed my accent. So I ran the security for the election in 2015, where we voted in that guy with the great hair. And Elections Canada, before every major election, 6 months in advance, they run a fake election. They build an office, they do everything, they have people pretend to vote, and they invite hackers. And they throw security incidents and do all this stuff, and then they do postmortems on everything and prove everything, and then during election day, we were, not in the paper, nothing, everything was great, so awesome, no new gray hair. So invite your developers on exercises like this if you can hold them. They're so worth it. It is our job to enable dev and ops in every single possible way we can. I have 1 minute left. So I am going to skip this last part and instead get right to the culture part. Security needs to become a part of dev and ops, and this means we need to do things like celebrating wins. We need to work closely together. We need to speak to them. Just to be clear, that's what I mean. We can't blame them. We can't point fingers anymore. Security is really good at telling people when they've done a bad job. And as best as we can for scaling, create security champions. Security champions are your best friends. So with that, I would like to call upon all of you to remember that it's our job to enable, teach, and automate security and give security feedback as best we absolutely can. That's our job, that's our duty as security professionals. I'm going to give you a few resources, so I hope your phones are ready, because we have around 30 seconds. All these resources should be free. Okay, yep. So first of all, please join OWASP. You will meet lots of cool friends. I have met so many of my amazing friends through them. I can't say enough good things about them. If you are a woman or identify as a woman, consider joining WOSEC, Women of Security. We're going to hold a CTF for women tomorrow morning, and we're going to crash RSA from 3 till 5 tomorrow night. Message me and I'll give you a link if you want to join and just meet a whole crap ton of women you didn't know yet. Every Monday, I pair people with professional mentors on Twitter. If you have worked in security 2 or more years, there's someone who wishes they knew enough to be able to do your job, and you could probably teach them. If you are looking to get into security, this is a great way by pairing with someone that is in your corner. And lastly, I produce a lot of free content, and it would be my pleasure to share it with you. And with that, I would like to, security is now a part of DevOps. It's everyone's job, not kidding, everyone. And now we have DevSecOps. And you can totally fight with me that DevOps, done properly, includes security after the break. Thank you very much for your time and attention today.
Thank you so much.